Before I met you, love was a word. After meeting you, love was a person. It was as though every love song I'd ever connected with, every romantic movie that had ever brought me to tears, had really just been connecting me to you. It was as though in the first glance we shared together as complete strangers in this physical world, everything within me instantly connected all of the dots backwards, and everything made sense. But now the irony is, after meeting you, after the powerful, intense experience we shared together, it's the complete opposite. Meeting you made everything suddenly make sense. It felt like I walked out of a cave and into the sunlight for the first time, and I didn't even know that I had been in the dark. But after meeting you, I now felt as though nothing about the future made sense. I remember when I lost you, and it felt as though fate had made some kind of a mistake. Nature had made an error, and I desperately wanted to correct that error. So from my thinking, logical, human mind that I now years later understand to be my ego, I tried so desperately to find you, to force you back into my life. I reached out into the darkness. I called your name into the silence every single night. I fell asleep thinking about you because I couldn't fall asleep otherwise. I tried sharing about you to others, to my friends, to my family, but they didn't understand. And I now know that they didn't understand because they have never experienced what I felt with you. Even my parents, my grandparents, couples who I know have been together for decades, 20, 30, 40 years, somehow I know they don't know each other the way I knew you in that first glance. I know that they've never been seen the way you saw me when you looked at me, because if they had, they, like me, would never have been able to forget it. They would have carried it around with them the way I carry you with me, the way I keep your name on the tip of my tongue and in the back of my mind, the way I always find myself pulled back to you, the way I search for you in every crowd, on every airplane, in every new city, thinking, maybe this is where you'll be, maybe this is where you'll live now. How desperately I long to know the smallest details of your life, how you take your coffee, whether you're a dog person or a cat person, what your family's like. And my greatest fear is that I will never know these things. My greatest fear is that somehow I missed my chance, that somehow fate's mistake will never correct itself. So I go back to the places that we met, and I sit there hoping that maybe if I put my feet in the sand long enough and let the tide wash over my ankles, that one day you'll cross over the sea and pull me into your arms, and we will still be strangers, but have a chance in this lifetime to become more familiar the way we were in thousands of lifetimes before this one. After you left, I kept asking myself why. Why did I meet with such a soul-touching love, with a love I never would have imagined existed, only for it to be pulled away from me, only for the rug to be pulled out from under me. Did I do something wrong? Did I push you away? Did I run away? But now I realize that in that moment, you awakened me. That first glance wasn't love at first sight in the traditional sense. It was soul remembering. I didn't fall in love with you in that moment. I remembered that I had always been in love with you, that I'd been carrying you around with me in my soul. And that remembering hit me like a ton of bricks. It sent a shockwave through my energy field. It encapsulated my entire being, and it still does. Even now, when I think of you, when I think of those moments we shared together, I remember everything in the most minute detail, as though I can use the details to conjure you back in front of me in the physical. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? That's what I find myself saying to myself in my own mind when I try finding the words to explain what we have, when to others it looks like we have nothing. We look like strangers, but we've known each other forever. It's the most confusing and paradoxical and beautiful sensation I have ever experienced. It's something I could never forget, although from my ego human perspective, sometimes I wish I could forget, because I think maybe if I forget, it wouldn't feel like every time I meet someone new, they are only seeing the shallow surface layers of me and aren't seeing me the way you saw me. I wouldn't cross-compare even years later between you and these others. I wouldn't feel in my soul as though I am cheating on my divine lover when we've hardly even exchanged a few sentences. Would I take it back if I could? Would I turn back time? Would I unmeet you in this physical world? Is ignorance really bliss? These are the questions that roll around in my mind. But the truth is, the only way I would turn back time is to go back and relive it all over again, to savor it, to savor you in your beauty, in your innocence, in your divinity, in your playfulness, to feel the way you made me feel the first time you looked at me over and over again. I would live in that skipping track of a few days forever. I would live out my life there if I could. But I know that's not an option for me, and also it's not what I came here to do. It's not why we met. We met to activate one another, to awaken one another in at first unconscious ways. At first I thought of you as possibly even just a crush, some kind of delusional fantasy. But over time, I realized that in those few moments, you became stuck in my energy field, not for the first time, but really more accurately, I realized that you had been in my energy field all along. I finally had a name and a face and a voice and a laugh to put to those feelings of longing I got for something that was once unnameable. I knew, even when I was a child, watching romantic movies, listening to love songs, they said that I couldn't understand love because I was too young, but I had known an ancient love that I carried with me into this lifetime, our love, and I recognized it when we met again. I wake up every morning wondering when I will see your face again. I would give anything just to watch you make pancakes in the morning, just to know exactly how your eyes look when the sunset reflects in them, to talk with you for just an hour and ask you if you remember me the way I remember you. I love you in the most tragic, beautiful, powerful kind of way. It's a kind of love I feel so blessed and so cursed to know. It's a kind of love I think many go through entire physical lifetimes, never experiencing. Why me? Why us? Why did we get the chance to experience such a beautiful and powerful and painful kind of love that catapulted us onto this journey of never-ending expansion, growth, awakening, that we didn't feel ready for, but that we were ready for, that we had intended. I never expected to see you, to meet you the way that we did. But now looking back, I know it was our soul's intention to meet in this way, at this time, in this place, and maybe it was our soul's intention to separate the way we did. Maybe I'm learning that love knows no physical boundaries, that I can simply love without reason, without logic, that I can trust a kind of love that fills your whole being with light and joy and longing and connection and authenticity, that I can know that kind of love without laying eyes on you in the physical, that I can hold space for that kind of love and still find joy and peace, even if that space is never physically filled by your beautiful presence in the same room as me. Sometimes I find myself saying, meet me in the next life. But my ego hates those words because it knows how much I long to see you in this one, how much I long to hold you. Is that really all ego, or is it partially just human? To want to touch, to want to feel with your fingertips everything you feel in your heart and soul, to know with your consciousness everything you know with your intuition. So I guess I'll say, meet me in another life, yes, because we cannot do otherwise, but perhaps meet me in this one as well. Maybe when we've both run our course around this world through different relationships and places and jobs, maybe one day we'll bump into each other in a coffee shop somewhere in some new city I haven't even been to yet. And maybe we'll relive that recognition, and this time we'll be ready. But until then, don't forget me. Hold me in your energy, hold me in your mind, even unconsciously, if that's all you can muster. But do not forget me entirely. I'm with you always in soul, even when I'm not with you in body, physically, and how I long to be and how I hope to be someday. So live your life, be happy, love, fall in love, but never forget the love that touched your soul the most deeply. Never forget our love.